Hey guys, welcome back. Today we have the luxurious and beautiful 1992 Toyota Century. Today we found out that the car has a no crank, no start issue. So we're going to go ahead and figure out what we can do to solve it. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is attempt to start the vehicle. Let's go. As you can see, we try to start the car, but it just isn't cranking. Nothing. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pop the hood and test the battery. Here we have a digital multimeter. First we're going to go ahead and turn it to DC 20 volts. Then from here we're going to go ahead and remove this cover for the positive, and the negative is already exposed. With it set at 20 volts, we're first going to go ahead and place the positive to the positive. Make sure we get a good connection, and then we're going to connect the negative to the negative and see where we're at. And from here, we have a pretty good connection and it's pretty solid. And we're looking at 12.48 volts. With this particular voltage, it's pretty much good between the rates of 12.2 and 12.6. So we're right at 12.49, and that's pretty good. So being that it's around this voltage, it pretty much shows that it's not a battery issue. So no need to jump start it at all. Next, we're going to travel to the driver's side kick panel, where we will see if we have any issues with the fuses. It's located right here. In regards to the relays, we're going to pay special attention to the starter relay. This car does not have a ST cut relay, so from there we're going to jump to the fuse block, which we turn this around, and we're going to pay special attention only to the 7.5 amp starter fuse. So from Japanese to English, this says starter right there. Let's do it. Okay, so from here we're going to go ahead and pull this trim back in order to get to the starter relay. Let's go ahead and do it. Pull it back, really easy, and pull this aside just like this. So what we're looking for, we're going to see the charge, which is the black one. So right above the black charge is the starter. And I'll show you the charge from here. So this is the charge, the black one. So right above it is the relay. Okay, so it's kind of tight, so I won't be able to show you exactly everything. So right above the charge is the starter relay. Go ahead and pull. Just like that. Okay, so this is the starter relay. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything funky in it. I'm not seeing any issues with it. Nothing seems burnt out. It was never touched, so I don't really need to go further with doing any testing on this because it seems pretty clean and I don't feel anything, don't hear anything. So I'll just go ahead and place that back in. And here we go right here. We have the 7.5 right there. Let's go ahead and take a look. And from this particular fuse, we're showing that there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. So nothing wrong with the actual fuse for the starter. Let's place it back. For this 1992 Century, this starter is located on the right-hand side of the car below the manifold. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and remove the negative side of this cable and jack the car up. And then we're going to remove this tire so we can get to the starter. In order to remove the negative terminal on the battery, we're going to go ahead and use a 10mm ratcheting wrench. Alright, go ahead and place it behind. Let's go ahead and jack up the car. Alright, now that the car is jacked up and securely placed on a jack stand, it's now time to remove the tire. First, you got to go ahead and remove this Toyota Century cover. Pry gently. Oh yeah. In order to remove these wheel nuts, we're going to go ahead and use a 13/16 socket. Pretty easy. Okay, and now that we have the wheel removed, let's go ahead and get to the starter. Alright, here goes the starter. We have part number 28100-51040. This is a Nippon Denso OEM Toyota starter. All we have is two bolts. We have one right here, 14mm right there, and one right here. And once we remove these two bolts, we'll be able to bring this starter down a little bit to remove the cables that are connected to it. All right, let's do it. And once the bolts are removed, watch out for these two washers. Make sure they don't fall. One washer, two washers. This is how they look. The pry bar and just pry it out. All right, we have two cables right here that we're gonna also have to remove. 1, 2. And there's a 12mm bolt right here on the starter. So just go ahead and get a ratcheting wrench and remove it just like this. And now that the power lead is now removed, we just have one more connection here. We're just gonna push in with a flathead screwdriver just like this. Push in and pull out. So once we push in and pull out, we can remove this cable here. There we go. Now the starter is removed. Just like that, wiggle it out. And that's it, guys. This is the starter for a 1992 Toyota Century. Now it's time to install the new one. You know, I love to drive behind certain cars with inventive license plates. Now that is a license plate. It's a BMW. Why? Because it is. That is the new 2020 Toyota Supra, which is in reality just a rebadged BMW Roadster with just a little bit of different underpinnings when it comes to engine power. But it is a BMW Roadster, and that is a wonderful license plate. Virginia is for lovers. Oh yeah! And welcome back, guys. Finally went ahead and got the replacement starter. This starter right here came all the way from Vladivostok, Russia. So it is a part of the same engine class as you can see here, the VG40 5V-EU. All right, so I matched it up and everything looks exactly the same. Okay, I went ahead and dated it just to let myself know when I actually installed it. The only difference I found between the two starters is the fact that on the older one, this plunger magnet switch is essentially stuck, where this one goes in and out. Hear that sound once again. Hear this one. You can barely hear it, so that's probably why this is malfunctioning. So we'll see. Let's go ahead and install it. Let's go. And all I'm going to do is reinstall everything in reverse order. So now we're going to bring it in on its side and connect these two wires. Once again, this is a 12mm nut. Turn it over. Alright, keep feeling until you get this cable right in there. Pull it just for good measure to ensure it doesn't fall out, and that's good. Now it's time to get that 12mm bolt on right there. Now let's install our power cable from the battery. And make sure it's on there nice and tight. And now let's position our starter into the two screws. Right there and right there. Just position it and slide it in. Now once the starter is firmly positioned within its housing, now it's time to replace the two washers and then the 14mm nut. Now let's go to the one at the top. Let's get our first washer, place it on. Second washer, nice. And last but not least, the 14mm nut. All right, now it's time to tighten them all down. All right, after snugging it up, it's time for the moment of truth. I'm gonna go ahead and put this negative battery terminal back on and start the car up. Let's see what we can do. Once again, this is a 10mm. Here we go. Let's see if this is the cause of all of our troubles. All right, success, guys, we did it. We went ahead and we made sure that we bought the starter. I couldn't get one from Japan, but I was able to get one from Russia and it worked perfectly fine. Now I'm able to start this car up and pimp down the road. So there you have it, guys. It was the starter all along. Woo! I'm very excited, guys. Thanks for joining me on this Toyota Century starter fix-up. Join me next time for more Toyota Century fixes. Gotta go. Bonus. Look at how dangerous this is. This guy is throwing carpets from the 3rd floor down to the floor. What if a kid were to just run across and then boom? That's instant death. Are you sure about that guy? Doesn't sound safe to me. Oh, here we go again. Woo! Dead. I don't know about that. Just crazy people.